So today we'll be discussing the fallacy of moderation. These are arguments that assume the correct answer is always the middle ground or a compromise between two extremes. This fallacy is essentially when one assumes that no matter the evidence or options presented, they always pick the middle option and they use that as the correct. One of the first examples that I'm going to give you guys is the first ad that was actually in the workbook. It says Republicans favor big business, Democrats favor big government. The Cumberland County Independence League wants a moderate-sized government supporting average-sized businesses, just what the county needs. This is actually a fallacy because the Cumberland County Independence League is explaining two extremes, the Republicans and the Democrats, and saying that they are a good middle and that's what the county needs.
Saw another ad from the workbook. It was talking about these two pieces of bread, and one was too fluffy and one was too gritty. So they combined the bread to try to make the ultimate bread, and that's a fallacy because they just put two pieces of bread together, and that doesn't make any sense.
So yeah, Jake, that's kind of right, but it's actually a fallacy because they're showing like two different types of bread, like one that's too fluffy or too gritty, and they're saying that their company put them together, and so they compromised to put both them together, and then that's why that they are obviously the better option.
Oh, that makes so much more sense now.
So can you guys think of any more examples of this fallacy?
Whoa! We have an example. I say we should kill all the dogs.
Let's kill no dogs.
Let's compromise and kill half the dogs.
Oh, that's actually a fallacy of moderation because they're taking two extremes and compromising to try to get a middle, but even the middle is an extremity.
So can you guys think of any more examples of this fallacy?
I think I got one. You're selling your car for $10,000 because after doing some research, you find out that it's a reasonable price. But someone offers you $1 claiming that it is all your car is worth. But in your head, you're saying, well, now I should sell it for $5,000 because someone else told me it's worth $1. I mean, $5,000.
Yeah, so this is actually an example of the moderation fallacy because there's two extreme options, the $10,000 or the $1, and they decide to go and settle for the middle option, which would be $5,000.
Oh, I think I got one. So me and a couple of my buddies went bowling the other day, and we were trying to figure out which ball I should use to bowl with. So I thought I was gonna use I was thinking like a 16-pound ball. I felt like that would be good, but then one of my friends told me, no, I think you should probably use the 8-pound ball because you could bowl better with it. And so after a few minutes of going back and forth, we decided it would be best if I used the 12-pound ball to bowl with.
This is a fallacy as well because Jake was saying that he wanted to use the 16-pound ball, but his friend was saying that he should use the 8. So they ended up settling with a compromise and they used the middle option, which is the 12-pound ball.
Okay, William thinks the Philadelphia Eagles will win the game. David thinks the New England Patriots will win. Therefore, I'll place a large bet on the team that ends in a tie.
Okay, keep going.
Bet that's it.
Oh, okay. So this is a fallacy because a game resulting in a tie is much more unlikely than one of the teams winning. So instead of betting on one team or the other, then they're gonna bet on a tie, which it would be the middle option. So can you guys think of any more examples?
So earlier this year, my parents were trying to decide, they wanted to buy a new table, but my dad wanted a round circular table, and my mom wanted a long rectangle table. So after they were arguing, a couple weeks go by, I come up with the idea, well, why don't we make both sides happy and buy a triangular table?
You know what? I got an example. So one day, me and my dad went out shopping, and I wanted to get a shirt. I am very excited. I wanted to get a shirt, and I was like, I'm gonna get a black shirt. But, my dad and all, being the way he is, he's like, no, you should get a white shirt. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna look at a referee and get a black and white shirt. So that's what I did. I compromised and got a black and white shirt. Any other examples, guys?
Yeah, I have one. So I told my dad basically I never want to go to school, and he was like, well, you have to go to school every day. And so a compromise that we could have made out of that is saying that I could go to school like half the time, but he wouldn't actually ever let me do that. So
That must be the moderation fallacy.
yes,
It is.
Any more examples?
So, my dad,
So I was going to
Wait,
get
wait.
more swim trunks and the other day, and I usually wear an extra large, you know. So, yeah, I'm sorry. So I usually get an extra large pair of shorts, you know, for my swim trunks. But you know, I thought they fit me perfectly. My mom was like, "No, you should get a medium size this time." And I was like, "No, that would make my butt look a little too big, you know." So I decided to go with a large size, which is the moderation fallacy.
I thought of one. So, before I went into high school, my parents were trying to decide if they wanted to send me to a public school or a private school. And my mom really wanted me to go to a private school, but my dad wanted to go to a public school because it was cheaper and you didn't have to pay any money. So they compromised and almost sent me to a prep school because it was the healthy middle between both of them.
That is indeed a fallacy. So we're gonna talk. I got one more example. So, my friend James, he lost in our fantasy football league, so he had to buzz cut his hair. So, he went to his dad and was like, "I need to buzz cut my hair because I lost my fantasy football league." And the dad was like, "No, I can't let you do that." So in the end, they compromised on him buzzing his left side and keeping his right side normal.
Okay, I can think of one more. So, I was hanging out with some friends, and it was pretty late at night, and so we wanted to get a caffeine boost. And so, one of my friends, Steve, was a big Starbucks fan, and he really wanted to go to Starbucks to get coffee. But my other friend, Timothy, would rather have supported local businesses and wanted to go to this small coffee place called Nexus that's in downtown Little Rock. So they started arguing, but I said that maybe instead of that, why don't we just go to Dunkin', because it's cheaper like Nexus, but it's also name brand like Starbucks. But that was a fallacy, and I know that now.
That's great, Jake. So I think this wraps up our discussion of the fallacy of moderation.